tattooed tons of celebrities, as you mentioned, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Kendrick Lamar, Marshmello.
When he came to me for $1 million was as the first investment.
Do you know how many times girls go under anesthesia on a daily basis to get boob jobs?
Buddy.
I mean, I have some stories that I could sell.
I'm sure.
The celebrity concept is kind of interesting
because all the guys would either bring in their girlfriends or their boyfriends.
I've been on a couple tattoo shows. Back,
And I do surgeries where I like sculpt six packs.
Yeah, I'm getting this epiphany and realizing that, I tell people that success is a combination of three things. It's your brand, being able to do good work, and then your networking. So if you can combine, if you're good at those three things, you'll go like straight to the top.
Hey guys, it's Jason Emer, and I'm super excited to announce we are doing our new podcast, but we're outside on my patio because in California, the reason I moved from Chicago and New York to here is because it's always sunny. Well, not as much lately, but it's always very beautiful outside, and I like seeing, the mountains and sort of the hills where we are. And I have a very special guest in our first podcast outdoors. Romeo Lacoste is one of my very good friends and is a celebrity tattoo artist. Not only does he do all the top celebrities, but actually I've had tattoos done by him, myself and my fiance, of our fingerprints. Is very detailed work. I will tell you that one of the reasons why I appreciate everything he does is it's so meticulous, the work that you do. You're known for like even super small tattoos, and now probably the even large tattoos we'll talk about in a second. But my tattoo is a little fingerprint, so it's so hard to even know what it is until you look in there. So I want to introduce you, and why don't you just yourself a little bit, tell everybody who you are and what they do. Probably already know you, and then we'll go into a little more detail about yourself.
Yeah, well, my name is Romeo Lacoste. Tattooed tons of celebrities, as you mentioned, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, Kendrick Lamar, Marshmello. And then obviously I've been on a couple tattoo shows, magazine covers, and I have my own tattoo company, the California Dream Tattoo, which I've had for now coming up on 10 years. And as you've mentioned, we just started delving into the anesthesia tattoos, which has been
what did you call it? What's the name you guys called it? There was a name.
Pain-free.
I like that. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
How has that been going and received online?
Oh man, it's really interesting because we're actually one of the first and only shops. There's not that many, but we're actually one of the first to do pain-free tattoos under anesthesia, and it's been actually it's probably one of my favorite things to do. It's funny too because I started doing. I'm known for the micro tattoos.
I know, that's why it's
quarter size micro tattoos, and then it's fun to like kind of get one of these, anesthesia full back pieces that we have to do in like 7 hours, under anesthesia. It's really exciting. It's thrilling. Obviously fast paced. There's a lot going on, a lot of pressure, but it's, I think we're all like, well-renowned artists. My whole team is, so, we crush it. It's just like having a good time. We got the music playing. And
how did you decide to start doing that? Going from one extreme all the way to the other. And then how can you control the quality of it? Because the qualities that you do is like so precise, and you have all these people working at once. How do you get such a good look?
Well, I've been tattooing celebrities and high net worth individuals for a long time, for quite a bit, and they've actually been asking me about this for a long time. Like they've been saying like, dude, can you just put me under and we do my whole back? And it didn't really, I didn't know if it was kind of like a joke or if it was something that was actually serious.
Everybody wants that. In my office, literally, everybody wants to get pills. They want to get shots for treatment. I put people to sleep sometimes for very small treatments.
It's crazy.
Like I don't even understand. No one can take pain in LA.
Yeah.
My office in New York, you get these New Yorkers that come in, they're laser, no anesthesia, just topical. They'll be bleeding and they go, I'm just going on the subway. Like they just go on the subway. They don't even care. Blood is dripping.
Oh yeah.
Here, people need to be on drugs. They need to be asleep. They need someone to take them home. And like the most luxurious driver, like everything has to be like hidden, private. Like it's crazy. So when people, that's why I was saying when people see what you're doing on Instagram, they probably think you're nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a shock on Instagram and on social media. One of our videos has 25 million views that we posted on YouTube Shorts.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I mean almost anything that we post with anesthesia tattoos gets a lot of traction. But people, and obviously I think it's still super new. It's starting to get a little bit more accepted, but there's a lot of controversial opinions about it. Some people are like, yes, sign me up, amazing, and some people are just like, dude, you're a pussy if you take this, or like you can't take the pain, and well,
there's risks with anesthesia,
right?
So people get worried. Like with tattooing, there's probably not that much if someone's good and they have a clean shop, but like there's always that other risk that you put people into, But
this is what I have to say about it, and obviously you do a lot of stuff under anesthesia, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. But I tell people all the time, like, dude, do you know how many times girls go under anesthesia on a daily basis to get boob jobs. Like no one looks at a girl that has her boobs done and say, hey, why would you get your boobs done? You could potentially die from the anesthesia. Like when you think about like people are doing it for cosmetic reasons all the time. They're not just doing it for, medical purposes, like for life risk or anything like that. When people are getting boob jobs all the time.
Oh yeah, we do. We put people to sleep all the time in my office. Almost every day we have somebody, the anesthesiologist to come in, does a little sedation. We do a big laser. We wake them up 45 minutes later. It's real quick.
Yeah.
So, we're always taking it right. You can literally walk across the street, get hit by a car around
I was just about to say, I mean, it's probably more dangerous. I mean, to drive in LA is probably more dangerous than going under anesthesia, to be completely honest.
But that's really cool because the point of me doing this podcast, I'm a doctor.
Right.
Now, I don't really care about being famous at all, but I'm lucky that I know a lot of people who have come to me for treatments that are famous, that do have a lot of following or do have a lot of influence. The reason I'm doing this podcast is I came here 10 years ago basically with nothing. I had a 2003 Saturn Ion. I tell this story all the time. I have it on TikTok. It's actually my #1 TikTok. I was the first doctor to be validated. I have my blue check mark or whatever it is that's on TikTok now as a doctor. And I told the whole story of me coming here 2003 Saturn Ion, one of my dogs who's now 17, still here, and one laser, and I started with nothing.
I love that.
And I hustled. I just literally everywhere I went, I talked to people. I tried to build my business. At that time, Instagram, social media was very minimal, 2013. And so I was using like Yelp and like just going around and make cards, pass them out to everybody. And now 10 years later, I have multiple practices, but as a doctor, I do well, but no one even knows the other businesses that I have. And they're way more successful, like significantly more. Like one of my car wrap companies, for example, is in 1 year almost worth $100 million. So it's pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Dude, I didn't know
so
that.
we're expanding like
Sick.
rapidly. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the reason I'm talking about that is I'm saying that I love seeing people that have a passion for something and want to be really successful and help people and do like really amazing things for them. And so that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I've seen you from the beginning become like one of the most successful I've ever seen in tattooing.
Yeah.
And then building into all these other things that you're doing now.
Yeah.
Actually, my friends work for Inked magazine. They've called me a bunch of times about you, and I know that you've been on the covers a couple times. So it's funny that we have that those types of relationship. But I saw you grow almost at the same time that I did.
Yeah, I forgot
in terms of the businesses that I have.
Way back, I forgot about that. I mean,
Oh my God, it was so long ago.
Like,
well, we did. I don't know. No one probably knows this, but we did a tattoo removal on you.
right?
It was of no. You remember? I know you remember, but no one else probably remembers. Was it Harry Potter?
Yeah.
I think it was a Harry Potter purple or something.
Part of this arm was getting redone, and we did.
Yeah. So one of my specialties, you guys, tattoo removal, and some of the colors are really difficult. And some of the neat things you could do is like lighten a tattoo so that you could put new ones over it. So what did you end up doing with that?
I actually redid Harry Potter, but it was just better.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I mean, I'm a perfectionist. I don't want imperfect work. So
Got it.
It was kind of like, I don't really like it, so I
So you faded it,
and then got the same thing, but just better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it's kind of funny you mention that because, my attention to detail is also how I met you and found you in the first place. Because, I came to you as a client. I don't know if you remember that, but that's how I met you. I came to you as a client. And I came to you because you were the best of the best, and I'm someone who likes the best of the best. And I think, I told you I was a tattoo artist. We followed each other and connected and kept in touch. And you kind of see that I'm the one who's specializing in fine detail and so when you have an eye for this kind of stuff, you know how to find someone else and notice it, and you're doing the same thing. You have your attention to detail with what you do, and the quality that you give customers is also why I appreciate what you do and why we're here now and kind of respect
so that's
each other.
what I wanted to ask you, because so I saw you grow at a similar time that I did. I came here, I think in 2013 to 14 is when I started. And so it's been about 10 years, which is why I decided to do the podcast now after 10 years and having these other businesses and stuff. I have a little more time. But I wanted people to know about like, how did you start? Because a lot of your clients are online, are very popular online. And people will look at you and be like, wow, all these celebrities in Hollywood go to you.
Right.
And obviously you can't fuck up a tattoo. Well, you can, but you can't if it's on a celebrity, because if you do, you have to call me to remove it, and it'd be very difficult. So how did you get those clients to go to you, and then how did you feel the confidence to be able to treat them? Because if even one mess up, you're screwed.
I'm just gonna say real quick that I'm getting this epiphany and realizing that you and I are actually very similar in what we do, because
that's why I wanted to
because I'm a tattoo artist and it's permanent, but you're doing the same thing. It's permanent. Whatever you do, if you mess up, it's like, there's sometimes there's no turning back,
And I do surgeries where I like sculpt six packs, and I have a lot of patients that have been burned or scarred or had bad fillers and have to fix it and stuff like that. And so a lot of what I have to do, you really can't mess up, because if you do, then no one wants to come back to you.
And you just mentioned a few minutes ago about your story and how you started, which I didn't. This is the first time I'm even hearing that about you. I didn't know your story.
Tell you all about that.
But when we first started, I remember you were obviously didn't have nearly as much, and you're right. I was actually just starting and kind of getting my start in social media, but I moved to LA. I was born originally in Canada, moved to Florida. That's where I spent my teen years, learned to tattoo in Florida. And I've always had a very entrepreneurial mindset. I think anyone who's an entrepreneur usually just has that in them at a very early age. And I had that, and I knew that I wanted to move to California, move to this, LA and a city where there was celebrities. And I kind of already knew, I was like, I'm going to utilize social media, utilize entertainment, build my name. And no one was even really doing it at the time. I mean, there was, LA Ink and a few tattoo shows, but there was no one really utilizing social media. Social media was new. Instagram had just came out. It was like fresh. So I really was there like right at the beginning. And
because I was doing Facebook and Snapchat,
right,
and it was posting a lot in my industry. It's it's commercial, so Yelp. Right. I was just literally putting pictures, and actually Yelp was the first social platform that made videos of people.
I didn't even know
so
that.
I hired the reason I have Alec actually is because the guy that I hired originally from Yelp, he made me this video, and it got all these people coming into me on Yelp. So I hired him for years to make all my patient videos. And then now he has a huge company that only does doctors.
Wow.
So I was like, can't you just let me hire one of your people to come follow me around all the time? And then he's like, no, we don't do that. So then I found someone else that does. Exactly. Yeah. But that's what's interesting. So it started out like people didn't see digital as an important platform. Now it's everything. Right. It's literally without it, there's nothing.
So I was the first tattoo artists to really utilize social media. So tattooers were kind of figuring out Instagram, but they weren't building a brand. I was the first tattoo artist to actually start posting my face and building a brand around being a tattoo artist, not just having like faceless art.
And having tattoos.
On you. And what I started doing was I started in the music scene in Florida, and started kind of tattooing like Warped Tour and some of these like the rock bands and stuff. And I grew like 40,000 followers in like a year or two when I first started tattooing. And I was like, okay, cool. I can't get any bigger than this here. This is like the top. I'm going to move to LA and I'm going to find a way to get in with like A-list celebrities, and I actually had my sights on like, that's
what I was going to ask you. Who did you want to tattoo first?
I was like, Justin Bieber. Let's go.
I've been trying to get him into my office. Don't tell him I said this. Well, he's probably going to see it. But I want him to take care of his skin. He's a young looking guy, but he always has bad skin. So I can take care of you anytime you want. But so tell me, you ended up.
Yeah, so I moved to Florida.
Had the sites to do it. You were focused.
I was broke, had no money.
So I had the same.
Right.
I was way more in debt.
I had $3,000 to my name, no place to live, nowhere to work.
Wow.
I got a hotel for like 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Found an apartment, and I just went to all the tattoo shops that I could find. Finally found a shop to work at and just was hustling. There was like no walk-ins, not hardly any walk-ins. And I just kind of started hustling, handing out cards, going to like restaurants, concerts, anything that I could.
So I did.
And then I just started slowly building. And then what happened is I actually randomly got hit up by a YouTuber at the time it was like new. And I was like, what the hell is a YouTuber? Right. I was like,
I know.
What the heck is this?
It's funny.
So I noticed he had like 800,000 followers. I was like, dude, this guy has like a celebrity status level. And he's a YouTuber. I was like, this was like a new concept for me. Tattooed him, and then he just kind of basically like they all started like turning 18 and kind of getting their first tattoos. Like all of LA, I just started basically just like a wave, started tattooing everybody in the social media scene. YouTubers, Viners, I mean, you name it, beauty space, everybody, vloggers, any kind of like YouTuber, entertainment, like content creator you could possibly think of everyone, gamers. And I just started basically just getting all of them, and it just started spreading like that.
What were the types of tattoos they were asking for? Because your specialty, obviously now, if you go and look at like your Instagram posts and stuff, it's either these larger, big treatments that people are doing under anesthesia that makes you stand out, but the very fine micro tattoos, you know, in hidden areas or of like something special that's very detailed. That's one of the things I notice about you. So what were you doing at the time, or has it changed?
I mean, yeah, at the time I wasn't really doing what I was doing now. I was more like, it was more general. It was just more like I did like a little bit of everything. But what's crazy is I always tell people, you know, it's the celebrity concept is kind of interesting when people see that celebrities are going to somebody, because for tattoos specifically, I mean, if you look on the internet, most celebrities don't have great tattoos.
No,
so
they don't.
I mean, especially the people in
You're
the
surprised.
sports
and
players.
plastic surgery.
Right. So
Just starting to get better.
right, exactly. So you know, most celebrities don't really care too much about quality. They just want to go to whoever is available or who their friends are going to. So, you know, they weren't really getting anything that detailed or that high quality. So that I had to kind of just be flexible and be able to kind of give them, you know, be good at everything, right? Because they might want one thing, they might want something else. So you're kind of just have to be flexible, and none of them were really getting anything that was like that detailed.
So, but your attention to detail and quality probably was what made them want to do more with you.
Yeah. So obviously I did really great work, which sells, but also just kind of having that rapport, and they saw that I had the credibility on social media. That was right around the time that I was getting off the TV show, the tattoo competition show, and kind of just getting that referral, which is also how a lot of times people get bad tattoos. They get the referrals. But when you have good work and good referrals, it kind of just takes you like super far. That's how obviously I was able to get to where I'm at now. I think that when you can combine, you know, I tell people that success is a combination of three things. It's your brand, being able to do good work, and then your networking. So if you can combine, if you're good at those three things, you'll go like straight to the top. Obviously, if you have like two of those, you can, you know, still do good for yourself. But when you have all three, that's how you get really, really big.
Yeah, and that's how I think that's how I did it at the beginning.
Yeah.
When I came here, I wanted to specifically focus on a niche population, because if you go to Beverly Hills or West Hollywood area, there's a million doctors who all claim to do the same things, even though they don't. But there's like 50 right there, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the one that does male aesthetics and six packs and liposuction. That was the thing, because here there wasn't many that did. So I got all the guys coming in for the facial sculptings and the six packs and all that, and then they kept bringing everyone else to come see me. And so that's how it started. There was no one else that was doing male aesthetics. Now they're starting to, but even now still, there's not that many. So it ended up being a really big thing for me, because all the guys would either bring in their girlfriends or their boyfriends. Didn't matter whichever area they wanted, they would bring in them both. And so it ended up being great. It ended up building the whole career. But I was very big into networking. I would go to every event that I got invited to. Actually, one of the first clients I ever got was an agent that, when I did good work on her, sent me all these celebrity clients. And then I ended up getting actually more behind the scenes people that actually had the money, that made the decisions, that their faces were, you didn't see them as much, but they were more important to them because of the meetings that they'd be in, and the people that they were speaking to that had so much money that they were giving to them, that if they looked weird or done, they wouldn't get their deals, you know? So it really mattered how you took care of them. And even to today, like, you know, you can't mess up, because they need to look and feel their best all the time, you know? And I feel like for you, you become, what I've noticed of your work is it's become more and more detailed as it's gotten smaller.
Yeah, it actually does. It gets more detailed the smaller it gets, actually.
Yeah. And that's why I went to you for mine that's of the fingerprint, because literally I don't think there's anything smaller than a fingerprint, really, that you can do.
Those are really hard to do. Those are really hard to do.
I'm sure, because it could bleed and stuff, right? Like, it's so
and
small.
also like, there's just it needs to be a photocopy of a real thumb of your specific thumbprint. That I feel like a lot of times when you see people that get these kinds of tattoos, especially the thumbprints, they don't even, you know, you can't mess up if you don't match them up, and it's just that same person's thumbprint. You got someone else's thumbprint on you. You know, it's not their thumbprint. So you have to make it like line for line, crack for crack, like where the separations are in the lines, like how a thumbprint is. You have to make it to that person. So it's pretty tough.
The other thing I did was created the brand. So originally it was, for me, being the highest quality, the most advanced, and being like a pioneer in my industry, which is exactly what it was. I didn't make it up. I actually did that. I worked with laser companies, developed new lasers. I went to actually multiple countries in the first year that I was here to learn other techniques from other people, like in Brazil and Germany
Wow.
and Italy
Mhm.
and all these places to learn, and brought that here, which nobody even to today very rarely are doing. They're just watching YouTube videos and stuff and trying to copy what
Right.
somebody does rather than actually going and learning it firsthand. And so it ended up making me better.
Mm.
Now I do more of the wellness and health stuff, the working out, because obviously if I'm creating a six pack, I want to make sure I have one too, so people could feel like that I understand what they should look like. Because I have clients now that I'll treat that have had surgery before, and they go, I don't even know if the person knew what a six pack was, because like lines are over here or
Yeah.
they're over there. I'm like, that's not an actual six pack. I think they tried to make one,
Right.
but didn't really look like that. Or you have people that like they go to somebody that treats a lot of women, and when they get surgery, they end up looking feminine because they don't,
Oh,
the guy doesn't know how to treat somebody that's a guy
right.
versus the other. So we had to fix that too. So I think for you, that my question to you was like, I saw that you did, this anesthetic tattoos, which I think is amazing, is much larger. What are the things you're trying to do now? Because your brand has been very strong on you
Mhm.
personally, and also your techniques. What is it going to be now?
I mean, I think for me, it's trying to just build a world renowned, like the biggest tattoo brand in the world. It's requiring a lot of work and time, and I think the tattoo industry it's a hard industry to scale. That's why a lot of shops haven't done it yet. But I think with me and my understanding of not only social media, branding, customer service, how we treat our artists, but also how we treat our clients. And also I think that's why a lot of the clients keep coming back, and they have such a love for who we are and how we tattoo them and how we treat them, because they're not only coming to us for an amazing piece of art, but they're coming to us for the entire experience. It's like they remember it forever. I mean, some people just get one tattoo for the rest of their life. They don't get a whole sleeve or 5 or
Yeah.
10 or every 2 years. Some people just get the one. And for us, we treat the one the same that we treat someone who comes back every month, and I think that we want to always give people that once in a lifetime experience, and the best experience that they get, that they'll always remember that and tell 100 people. And for me, it's just scaling that now from LA to, other cities. We're looking into expanding to Miami and other
Nice.
LA location. And obviously the anesthesia, we're going to continue to expand that. And yeah, just keep building the brand. The skincare company that you had mentioned before as well, that we're talking about, just products, skincare products.
Yeah. I think there's a huge need for aftercare with
Hmm.
regards to tattooing, just in general, one, to prevent
Yeah.
infection, but also it makes the color stay.
Yeah.
It implants better into the skin. They heal more quickly. Sun protection, just because obviously when you put a tattoo on, there's actually some barrier disruption, and there's risk of developing a skin cancer if they get UV exposure.
I think there's a big gap and a big missing part and segment, and just like there's a big missing part in products for tattooing.
Hmm.
I know people think that there's a lot of products out there, but in reality they're all very similar. And I
Oh
think that
yeah.
there's just a lot that's missing. Like you were saying, like there's not a lot that has to do with sunscreen, like for
Oh
UV
yeah.
protection.
Of course.
There's a couple companies out there that have aftercare, like just basic aftercare product, but they don't really do much different than just going and buying your regular lotion. So I
Yeah.
think that when you want to like get into products that actually do something different and actually are elevated and are just more advanced, more modernized,
Oh
and
yeah.
just kind of incorporate other things, that types of benefits, that's where I think there's going to be a big open market for it. And that's where we also want to come in and just take a piece of the action. And that's where we're kind of thinking in the future. It's like, what hasn't been done yet, and what can we kind of touch into and get into and bring that to people that would benefit them, and just actually make their tattoos last longer, heal better. And
Yeah.
that's you and I have been talking about that for a while too.
No,
And
I
that's
think
on
it'd
our
be
list
great.
of
I mean,
things to look into.
that's what I developed in my
Yeah.
industry. Now we have in the US, I have over 100 practices in the past. Like, I think we launched it summer, so a year and a half of doctors' offices. We've been selling to consumers online for years, but now actually getting it to doctors' offices, and we're expanding to Canada and the UAE and UK in the Q1 of this year. And so that more doctors' offices can get it. I think if you look at tattoo, there's tattoo removal franchises.
Right.
But I've never actually seen a tattoo artistry franchise. Does it exist?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So that's huge. That's a
Yeah.
good thing, because if artists are trained under you or kind of have the same sort of branding and
Yes.
luxury experience under you, people would want to go to that facility even if you're not there.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I've even built the California Dream, which is my shop, to where it's at. We have over 500,000 followers on Instagram. We take artists that's my specialty, is finding artists that have amazing potential that maybe aren't developed, and we bring them into the shop. I train them, help them build their social media, help them build their brand, and just give them those opportunities that I'm able to get as being established, almost like what you're able to get.
What I do with my providers.
And we bring artists. That's why we have actually, I think, the lowest turnover of any tattoo shop. Like our artists stay with us for a very, very
what
long
makes
time.
them want to stay?
Well, because one, we treat them really, really well, and they
that's
have
good.
an amazing environment.
Especially in California. For those
Right.
For those that do not know, employment in California is very difficult.
1,000%.
There's a lot of laws in California that protect the employee over the employer.
That's true.
And no matter how nice you are,
No.
anyone can turn a story around.
Oh, for sure.
So if they're not doing that to you, I think that's great.
Yeah.
That goes to show that they see that you're really helping them build.
I think that, well, they stay with us for two reasons. One, the environment's extremely positive, and it's just a great environment to grow.
It's good.
But two, I think we provide more for our artists than any other tattoo shop. I mean, we have magazine opportunities. I've taken artists that were literally not even 1 year in a tattooing and put them on the cover of a magazine. Like, that's unheard of for some of the artists who've been around for 10, 20, 30 years.
Maybe never.
Never, exactly. We've taken some artists and given them opportunities to be, do tattoos under general anesthesia. Also something that many artists never have the opportunity or the access to be able to do. Celebrity clients. I pass a lot of my celebrity clients to my other artists in the shop. I mean, there's so many things that we do for our artists, which I think is why they love being a part of the team and they stick with us, and which is why I want to continue to expand the California Dream into other cities and give other artists that are looking for a shop to call home and be a part of, to actually be treated well and to grow and have an opportunity to really make a difference in the tattoo industry and in the world.
How do those other artists get clients besides the ones that you give them?
Well, two ways. One, obviously, we provide some clients for them, but I teach them how to get their own clients. We help them I tell them how to clean up their brand on social media. So a lot of artists, they're great. It doesn't matter how good you are at tattooing. If you don't have a brand on social media, people are going to find you, or sometimes don't even want to book with you because they can't connect with you on a personal level. So I teach a lot of the artists in the shop when they first come in how to clean up your photos, how to clean up your presentation, and also how to show yourself and make yourself more presentable and make people want to feel like they want to connect with you and come get tattooed by you. So,
and I think that's the key for social in 2025.
Yeah.
It probably has been over the past few years, but even more so now, because there's so many digital editing softwares and like Photoshop. No, it's not Photoshopping anymore, but like all CapCut, it's like all these different things now, even with AI, that people can make anything easily on social, and it can be fake. I mean, it can literally be an AI of that person you don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
So they need to be able to post content that promotes who they are, not only in the shop, but outside.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I do the working out stuff. You do too. You do a lot with your traveling as well. And I think that's very important, because then people see what you're doing every day and they see that it's real and that you're being like honest with them and like showing more of who you are as a person. Then they know whether or not they actually want to go to you.
Well, I think in today's world, and obviously it's the same for your industry, we're just getting into a place now where every industry is insanely saturated, super saturated.
Oh, yeah.
In LA, there's tons of tattoo artists that are moving in, flooding into LA monthly basis, yearly basis, thinking that it's that gold rush, that it was 10 years ago, and then realizing that there's too many. Same, I'm sure, with plastic surgeons saying, hey, I'm going to move to LA. And then they realize, oh my goodness.
I have so many friends now that are making less than nurses in hospitals, that are plastic surgeons out of residency. I've actually had two in the past 6 months that came to me and said, whatever work you have, I'll do it. And they've been in practice 20 years.
That's
and
crazy.
I've been in practice 15, but 10 here. And it goes to show, like, I'm lucky because my brand has been so well established
Brand
that
is
I'll never
everything.
have to worry because the people are
Yeah.
always coming to me, and I have millions of people that try to break it down every single day. But
Same here.
where other people come
Yeah.
in, and the other thing too in my industry, I'm curious if this is happening in yours. You can, with me, you have to have a lot of education. It used to be. Now you could be a nurse that takes just 2 years of school
Right.
and inject people and do Botox and lasers and all this stuff and have almost no experience. You could literally have no credentials.
It's worse for me. It's worse for my industry.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now you don't know. So tell me, what is it in your
I
industry
mean,
for experience?
people are buying kits off Amazon and going on YouTube and just tattooing their
God.
friends in their bedroom and then starting careers out of it. And there's a lot that's missing because I think people see that and they're like, oh, this dude's tattooing, let me get a tattoo. You don't realize how much you actually there's a whole medical aspect of it as far as sterilization, just and the way that you're supposed to cross contamination. There's a lot of things that doesn't get taught obviously by going on YouTube and teaching yourself.
You guys probably haven't seen, but in dermatology, there's also reactions to colored ink,
Right.
something called sarcoidosis or granulomatous formation that can occur where the tattoos can become thicker.
Right.
They can actually spread in allergies to the whole body. They can go into the lymph nodes. So and I've seen all those when I was in general dermatology. So obviously, typically that's more of if something's contaminated or if the ink's not from a quality place, an amateur versus professional tattoo.
No, I mean they're getting their stuff off eBay. It's not quality stuff. Also, I think that a lot of times people just want to get a tattoo to get a tattoo. I mean, I'm sure you see it in your industry too. I see botched, BBLs and boob jobs and all kinds of stuff. People just going to Mexico or wherever, the cheapest place they possibly can, and just paying pennies on the dollar because they want to save money. People do it with tattoos as well. And another thing too is not only the medical side, the cleanliness and the sterilization and the the safety of it in that aspect, but also when you're going to someone who's not trained as an artist and they're just copy and pasting something they see on Google, you're also getting a low quality tattoo, not only in detail in that, but also it's not even a custom piece. When you're going to an artist who's been tattooed or who's been tattooing for a really long time, who has an art background, who's giving you a one-of-a-kind tattoo. It's the same with what you're doing. You're giving them, something that's catered.
To me, I'll pay anything for that.
Right. And you're giving them, when you're building a body out, you're catering it to their physique. And it's the same thing for what we do. We give people tattoos. To me, it's all about, I take the aesthetic into consideration, their body type, their shape, how it's flowing, their idea. I mean, I take everything and I'm making sure that it's the best possible tattoo that they could ever have in any way, shape, or form, because it's going to be on their body for the rest of their life. It's not just like, hey, let's just cut this out and slap it, like a sticker and then kick them out the door.
So the people that work with you, they have that same mindset.
Of course.
And that same artistry in the back in their abilities. And
1,000%. Obviously, I mean,
no, that's good.
My job is quality control.
But that's how people will know that if they're going to you or your shop, that they're getting that.
Doesn't matter if it's me or anyone in my shop. Right. The California Dream, I'm quality controlling everything. It's the best of the best out the door, no matter what, who you go to. And also just to kind of touch on what you were saying, we have moving forward, or that we're expanding to. One of the biggest things we're actually focusing on right now is content, actually, and we're kind of behind the scenes just working on a lot of stuff. I'm bringing back Tattoo Roulette, which is going to be a big hit for not only YouTube long form, but we're also kind of revamping that and cutting it up and going to be firing the short form across as well, which when we were doing that a few years back.
Tell people what it is so they understand.
So Tattoo Roulette is a tattoo game show that I came up with. It actually was with Disney Digital. So Disney Digital had their digital department. I partnered up with them. They sponsored and funded the show, and I started the show originally with them. And it's a game show. People come on, they do these crazy different challenges. The better you do on the challenges, the better your chances of getting the tattoo you want. And then
I like that.
And then
I can't do that in my industry. It's against the medical board of California.
No, it's
I
so
actually
funny.
thought about it a while ago. I remember when you were doing that.
Yeah.
And I was like, how cool would that be if we had a plastic surgery show where people come in and I decided what they got, but if they got a little bit further, they could choose what they wanted.
Yeah.
Or they had a wish list and they just wake up the next day and they get something that's on it.
Oh my God.
Or not,
That's so funny.
So, but we're not allowed to do that, but you can. So
no, it was a huge hit. We had millions of views on YouTube. took a break from that as the short form content kind of like migrated over. Now we're revamping it, bringing it back.
That's a good idea.
I'm bringing my artists in the shop into the show, so I'm co-hosting it and letting them do most of the tattoos, and having all new guests. We're filming that starting this month, and also kind of formatting that as well, obviously for short form content, which now is the focus of everything.
Everybody.
And yeah, so content, I'm sure like you and what you're doing is a big part of what we're focusing on, and just kind of really making sure that we're just getting that coverage and just getting out there and continuing to put out that amazing content that people want to see. Because for me, like how I built my brand was tattoo entertainment. I was doing tattoo roulette, tattooing celebrities. That's how I built my brand. And now we want to bring that back and just give people that quality tattoo entertainment that they're looking for. That
because I don't think anyone really does that well.
I guess
you could have someone you could do a live have people pay to live stream in your store all day. They just watch your store up close. Something like a Big Brother, but it's big tattoos. I don't know what you want to call it. 24/7 tattoo.
24/7 surveillance.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. That'd be perfect. I can't really do that by me because I can't show anyone naked or something. Yeah. But that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and actually, we've been at the forefront of social media and entertainment for a long time when it comes to tattoos. I mean, I came up with the tattoo roulette concept and have always been crushing it. Now we're formatting for short form content. I actually have another idea that we also want to do after tattoo roulette. I want to create a talk show where people get tattoos at the same time and talk about their stories.
That's fun.
It's almost like a hybrid of podcast mixed with getting tattooed at the same time. So we're also in the process of building that out and getting that kind of fleshed out.
We could do that with something. You could do that with something cosmetically too, because a lot of people. What? Well, like if somebody's getting a hair transplant, they're there for 8 hours. Why can't they get a tattoo at the same time? Or if they're doing surgery or something and they're asleep and they want it on their arm, they could be getting their sleeve done while we're doing lipo on their stomach. There's a lot of options there.
I've
always thought about that
on ideas and.
Well, I had a company come to me because I do, for you guys that don't know, I do a lot of penis enlargement, and I've had people come to me and say, "Oh, while someone's there getting their hair transplant, can they also do that?" Or while they're, just adding it on as a treatment. I was like, "There's no reason." Yeah, you could do. Why not? Just do it. I don't see why not.
They can get a small tattoo at the same time of
their I think.
Penis plumper.
I think people would want that, no matter what.
Do you guys do calf enlargement? Because that's what I need.
I do, but we do implants too. One of my surgeons does it. The problem with the implant, I had fat on mine.
Wait, what?
I had fat. Mine. I don't know if I can show them.
You're a cheater.
I don't know if I could show them. Years ago, let's see, can you get that on film? I don't know. But I work them out every day.
That's crazy.
But mine were always smaller. So years ago, we were doing a training course. I did a little bit in each calf, and I'll tell you something. When the fat goes in there, it has stem cells, and as you work out, it makes your muscles grow. That's how I got known for doing gladiator lipo, which is using the fat elsewhere so that muscles get bigger. But I'm telling you, if you even had a little bit of fat, but you really don't, you could inject it there. But there's there is an injectable that's called Renuva. That's a synthetic fat. It's from cadavers.
Listen. I'm dying here. My calves need some help, bro. I'm in the gym. Okay. They're bigger than they were before, but they're still not. I need some help.
We'll talk about it. But I do want to give you my peptide. We'll talk about my oral peptide because that will help too. It actually does help them grow a lot faster. But sometimes you're also taller. It's a little bit harder.
I'll take anything I can get.
The muscles are longer. But you could do implants. The problem with the implants is like 3 to 6 weeks of difficulty walking.
Oh my God.
It's a little painful. I
think every guy who's watching this will say like, the calves are the hardest.
We're
struggling on the calves.
Most guys, that's it. And then there's also, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's not something we do, but it's becoming popular now. Is height surgery.
What in the world?
There's a lot of people doing it. In Miami, actually, is the first doctor to do it. And there's a lot of celebrities here that have done it, but they're very secretive about it. I'm not allowed to say, obviously, because some of them are mine. But it's $200,000 to $300,000, and for 6 months you have to be in rehab. And they do these incisions that go all the way down the legs.
Wow.
And they put these screws in, and every week they turn it. And each week, it's almost like a micro break of your bone. Your bone has stem cells in it that repairs itself. So every week it breaks, and every week it repairs. And each time it grows like a tree, a very small amount.
So this isn't hypothetical or like in the future. You're saying this
for real.
This is purely
happening
right
now to people that were probably about 5'10" a few years ago and are now your height.
That is ridiculous. 5'10"?
Swear to God. Yes, I know a couple celebrities that have gotten 4 to 6 inches in height.
That's crazy.
The problem is at some point your waist to leg
Yeah.
is going to look a little off.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I'm already more leg than I am.
Yeah, so
I'm already.
but that's what they wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah.
So if you put pictures side by side and keep it under wraps, but
Right.
it's for people that have the money to do it right now. But at some point it will be in the future. What I mean by that is you can pretty much almost do anything now, and that's what, and that stuff will start becoming more popular on social in the future when people start bringing it out. I think on your
I need a
industry,
spine extension. That's what I need.
no, you're fine. You're gonna be you'll be way too tall at
I'll be
that
6'5",
point.
but you
That'll
know,
be crazy.
I feel like I'm joking because my back from tattooing.
I know.
I need a
That would be a
spine stretch.
little crazy. But no, I would say is all these things that you're
Yeah.
talking about are what's going to become very popular online.
Yes.
Because online, everybody wants entertainment. They want to see
Yeah.
things quickly. So I think you have to mix, especially if you're going to be a brand that wants to sell quality customer services, you have to be able to show that quickly, but not have it look, I don't know, like child's play or whatever, like something that Tijuana, like you're talking about going somewhere else.
It can't be corny.
Exactly.
It can't be corny.
It has to be high quality.
It has to be high
It has
quality.
to be really high quality.
Which I think is where there's a lot, and especially in the tattoo industry, and I've seen it a little bit in plastic surgery. I obviously don't want to drop names, but you know who I'm talking about. But you know, when you're trying to make it entertaining and you do content, and it ends up being like more like a joke and corny,
I don't like that.
it kind of kills the brand and just makes it more like, why would I even want to go? You don't attract quality clients when your content comes off corny.
Yeah, so my clients, they talk about that all the time, that the reason they actually go to me is because of the seriousness that I do. Also, a couple of things. One, how serious and professional I am and educate.
Yeah.
So I'm actually talking about the science and stuff, a mix, showing them the actual treatments, but also the fact that I show the reality of it. I show people the day of surgery and how terrible it looks, and like literally I get so many negative comments. I actually screenshotted yesterday a person that we posted last week where everyone said it looked horrible, that I screwed them up, this and that, because they don't understand what the person needed, what's going to look like the next day, and then in 2 months, because I've done this for years and I know what it's going to look like. So I screenshotted all of them, because some of them were doctors that were saying bad things about me, which I don't feel like in your industry you should be saying bad things about other people and in your own industry.
Man,
I think it's not.
The tattoo industry is
Yeah,
really bad, but I'm sure
I'm just saying. I just don't think it's. I don't think that makes you credible, in my opinion. So I screenshotted them, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna now go to all their profiles and show everybody who these people are,
Right.
and see if they actually are quality. Because the ones I looked at were not. So they don't understand. But I like to show that, because then people see the reality of the treatment. Like, there's gonna be bleeding, there's gonna be swelling, it's gonna look weird at first. It's just like a tattoo. When you're doing it, it looks a little bit crazy and it's swollen and there's bleeding and stuff, and then the next week or two it looks like perfect, you know. So I think all of it really does matter, because then that is what type of client that you attract. My clients also say that they don't like when a doctor says something negative about a celebrity, or like negative about another doctor,
I mean,
or someone in their industry.
General,
I know.
It's you kind of get you get the feeling that person's like trying to cut other people down because they're hurting or they're desperate or they're, you know,
Most likely.
it really gives off not a good look. I mean, no matter when you're talking about anybody, you know, whether it's a celebrity or another artist. I mean, I could talk crap about 1,000 tattoo artists, you know, but I don't even bother throwing out names.
Yeah, like I don't do green screens of celebrity faces and stuff like that, because I don't want to have to judge, you know, and say, oh, they may have had this or they may have had that. I get called all the time from magazines to do that, and I won't do it.
Us too. I mean, when I was tattooing Justin Bieber at the time, or even now when I'm tattooing celebrities, we get hit up by TMZ or sports or a lot of places, and they always want to squeeze out something that they can actually throw out there. And we've always kept it, you know, extremely it's all about the art.
But that's why the clients will go to you.
Exactly. And that's also why they keep coming back. I mean, I had a very personal relationship with Ariana Grande when she was getting a lot of tattoos at the time. She doesn't as much anymore, but, you know, Kendrick Lamar, any of these celebrities that I'm tattooing, you know, either before or even now, I've always been more like on an eye-to-eye level with them, because they know that they can trust me. A lot of them come to the shop. They know that there's not going to be, you know, paparazzi, or the photos aren't going to get leaked, you know, like behind, you know, candid photos that
people will call and say,
sure,
this celebrity's here, you know, come take pictures or whatever, just to make themselves more popular.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's always just been, I mean,
yeah, it's about a relationship.
But for me, it lasts longer too. You know, people, a lot of artists or doesn't matter what profession, what you do, a hairstylist, barber, makeup artist, whatever, you know, they get caught up by the low hanging fruit. It's like, oh, I can sell this story real quick and, you know, make an extra buck, or I can get an extra press or whatever it is, or get some pieces. For me, it's always just been about the 10-year plan. It's like, if I build my relationship with these celebrities, more celebrities are going to come. They're going to tell their friend, they're going to say, hey, this guy's like, you know, I trust him. You don't got to worry about anything with him. Like, you know, I don't got to sign NDAs, all that stuff. Like, they trust me. I can go there. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You know, and that's the kind of rapport that I've had with celebrities.
They're going to be talking to you while they're sitting there for a while, and they're going to tell you stuff because they trust you. It's just like a hairstylist or a makeup. I have to be, in my industry, it's against the law to go say something, but in dentistry, it's not. In what you guys, it's not. So you technically could take any information and go leak it to anybody.
I mean, I have some stories that I could sell.
I'm sure. But you know, look online, look at all these celebrities that the second something happens, an assistant now comes out of the woodworks and starts saying stuff about them, or this old girlfriend or whatever. Everybody wants to cut somebody down and to get a check nowadays. It's crazy. But that's not the type of people that we're talking about, because people like us would never do that. And that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I want people to see, like, I think tattooing, I don't know if this is going to sound weird, but I think tattooing has always seemed like, not grungy, but like not high quality, you know, but it actually really can be. And that's the same thing I think in aesthetics. It was kind of like always hidden. Now it's like the ones that are the best are luxury, high patient customer service, like a very nice hotel. You know, you're taking care of that client's your client forever, and they're doing everything with you. Now you're making the tattooing safe, you're making it luxurious, you're making it high quality, like a hotel, like basically I was saying, you know.
I mean, that's my whole brand. You know, it's being the highest quality of what we do. And you're absolutely right. Tattoos, especially in the early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, always kind of, you know, you would think biker, you would think, you know, garage, you would think, you know, street shop. And
you don't think the Beverly Hills Housewives.
Oh, exactly. And, you know, when I opened my private studio, you know, it just has an awesome aesthetic. It feels high end, feels upscale. The service is upscale. The quality of the tattoo is upscale. And just, you know, everything we do, from equipment to supplies, and, you know, what we use when we're covering them up and everything like that, is always top of the line. And like you said, you know, people used to have that notion. Now it's a little bit less, but that's what you think, grungy. And for me, it's bringing them that highest quality, because we're catering and tattooing the same kind of clients that you're working with.
Yeah.
The same people that are going and buying a Rolls Royce, or they're flying on private jets, or they're spending, you know, $20,000 or $100,000 on a plastic surgeon or cosmetic surgery, are the same people that are coming to me and saying, hey, I want this one tattoo. It's a portrait of my kids. It's this or it's that. And it's going to be my one tattoo, or it's my, you know, or they're getting sleeves, but they want the best of the best. So that's who we cater. And we're trying to give them that same level of quality that they're going to get when they go to Louis Vuitton or Versace, or if they're going to you, or if they're going and buying, you know, a hypercar.
It's the highest quality art.
Exactly. And for sure.
It's collectible right on them.
Yeah. And it's on you forever.
Yeah. So I like that. I mean, mine is forever too, but no, that's why I wanted to bring you on. So what I wanted to know was, if you had to tell people, like, you know, how to become successful. It doesn't have to necessarily be in your business, but what I noticed, I think, from the conversation with you, was the drive and the passion for what you do. I find so many people nowadays, worse after COVID, especially because everyone thinks they can just do an OnlyFans and make millions of dollars. They don't need an employer. It's like back to the 70s where no one wanted to listen to anybody and do whatever they wanted. And social media is promoting that. It's promoting even kids to not even have to be educated. They could just use an AI or chat online and learn all this stuff. Yeah. We're not going to be able to have, I posted on my Instagram today, I have a lot of DMs actually about it, that we're not going to have like lawyers, doctors, like no new scientific discoveries are going to occur, because everything is going to be someone asking an AI to give them information that they're never going to be able to think for themselves. Yeah. And so what scares me about that is entrepreneurs like you that were like driven to have to push yourself because you didn't have all that. Right. And you didn't have people telling you, oh, you don't need that to be successful, when you really do, became very successful and are able to become successful. We may not have that in the future. We may not have people with drive, with passion, people that are wanting to work. Like if I said to you, I have a celebrity client, but they need to do a tattoo on Saturday at 10 o'clock p.m. Would you do it?
Of course, 1,000%.
100%.
Let's go.
But like I have people that will work for me and say, "Oh, it's 4:30.
Yeah.
I'm done at 5." You know, I've had nurses and PAs that have worked for me where a celebrity client was in and it's 6 o'clock on Friday and she's like, you know what? I want to add doing my whole leg with this laser. So obviously won't be leaving till 10 at night. My PA is like, no. I mean, could you imagine having a clientele that you're trying to build a career with?
They'd be fired.
Lifelong. Exactly. Well, that's why the person's not with me anymore. So but what I mean is like, I did that. You did that. So I noticed in you the drive, you left, you had nothing, but you just knew you'd be successful. I didn't think Hollywood I didn't even know that Hollywood or Beverly Hills had money. I just thought people wanted cosmetics here. So when I was in San Francisco at my fellowship and I was seeing people and I was kind of bored, I was doing like regular stuff. I was like, I just need to go where everyone wants cosmetics. And it was either Miami or LA. That's what I thought. So, and I had already been in New York anyway. So I did treatments there. So I'm like, I'm just going to move to LA. And I just did. And I had nothing. Literally everybody told me not to. And I still did. And I was worse than you. I has negative $300,000. You at least had 3,000. I had negative 300. But I had a 10-year-old car and a 15-year-old dog. Yeah. So I had a lot to support at that. I had very little to be able to support at that time. That story. But I really wanted to build. So when I came in, I did the same thing as you. The cars everywhere I went. Come to my office. My esthetician will give you a free facial. Here's a skincare product. Here's this, and just to get people to come in. I don't notice that in young people anymore.
There isn't.
So how are people going to be successful then in the future? What would you have to tell them if they were, let's say, young tattoo artists? But in general, though, what is it that makes an entrepreneur successful?
So I think it's 4 times as hard now than it was before. I don't even say twice as hard. I say 4 times because 4 times at least because 2 things. One, social media has gotten way harder now than it was when I first started. So when I first started, I'm sure obviously remember the algorithms and things were a lot different. So
I'm shadow banned for 2 years.
Right. I mean,
literally.
Yeah. So the algorithms and social media is, and everyone will admit this, it's so much harder now. So that already you got to work way harder than you had to before. But it's even harder than that because now we're oversaturated. There's way more saturation than was before. And on social media, they, like you said, they kind of sell you. It's a facade. They sell you that everything is easy.
So easy.
It's so easy.
Yeah, and you make a lot.
And you make a lot, right?
Tons.
So it's all a pipe dream. It's all fake because I like, and people don't realize this, but I tell people because you see, like the algorithm feeds you these people who are magically making insane astronomical amounts of money with doing no work.
No work.
And
it's crazy.
They make people believe this stuff. And then when people believe this, they like, well, I want to be like them. I don't want to work. I don't have to work. I shouldn't have to work. I should be able to kind of win the lottery and do little work and just be able to make this astronomical amount of money. So no one wants to work. And then everything's harder. So then they realize that obviously things don't work like that. They don't get any results. And then they're like, well, why is that guy lucky? Why did he get it and I don't get it? And it's not fair because he's where he's at and I'm where I'm at. And
but they don't see that whoever that was worked for 10 to 15 years before to be able to get to that.
But I tell people all the time, the people who are going to succeed, it doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter if it's your industry, it doesn't matter if you're a barber, a hairstylist, cosmetologist, it doesn't matter if you're starting a construction company, it doesn't matter. The people who are going to succeed are the ones who want it more than everyone else and the people who work harder than everyone else. So if you're willing to put the late nights, the early mornings, the weekends, the days off, instead of going to a party, instead of going and doing this, instead of doing that, and you're willing to work instead and take that small opportunity, those small opportunities will build, those small wins will build into big opportunities and big wins. And those are the people who are going to succeed. It's what worked before. And it's what's going to work now, but you have to just work even harder now. It's even harder. So I tell people, if you really want, you got to really want it. If you want to get successful and not just be struggling and be a starving artist or a starving entrepreneur or a starving business owner, if you really want it, you got to want it so fucking bad now. And you got to work for it so hard. You got to do anything and everything. And I always tell people too, you got to sit down every week and just think like, what is not being done right now? You got to.
Well, I always tell people you have to think is what should I do that no one else is doing?
That's literally what I tell people.
Or if I look at somebody that's already successful, copy everything they're doing and do more than that.
Right.
And the first person that ever taught me,
better.
exactly,
I tell people,
do it better.
If something works for someone, copy them, but do it
Try
better.
and do it
Don't
much
just
better.
copy them and do it worse.
Yeah,
'cause
figure
you're
out
not gonna.
what
Yeah.
makes you stand out a little bit
Right.
different and separate yourself in that
Yeah.
way. Like I said, when I came in, I had a niche, so I focused on that niche and I made that the best.
Yeah.
But I always tell people the person that taught me was this like 70-year-old dermatologist. He was the most well-known one in New York. Like any rare disease, he could figure it out. No one could get the worst skin rashes. He could figure it out because he would be there at 3 a.m. and he would leave at then 12 hours later, if he needed to, it didn't matter. He stayed as late as he could. So when I started, he goes, if I get here at 4 a.m., you get here at 3. And if I leave at 5, you leave at 7. That's what he would tell me. And he goes, if I don't see you with a book in your hand everywhere we go, you're kicked out of this residency program.
Love it.
I was so scared. I was scared shitless every day. I came in at 2 a.m. I didn't leave. I never left. Some days I say 3 days.
Yeah.
Literally, my friends would bring me food to the hospital. I was scared to leave. Because I was like, I'm gonna get kicked out of this place. But what happened? I became chief resident. Was the smartest dermatologist in New York.
Yeah.
And still to this day, dermatologists send me all the clients for rare things and the scars and all the stuff that I do. That type of like persistence and like hard work, I feel like is not seen as much.
No.
And that's why it's very rare that people that do have financial success, multiple businesses and all these other things are the ones that do that. Like the ones. So I invested, I kind of brought it up, this car wrap company. But one of my partners, when he came to me for $1 million, was as the first investment. It was just one of the investments. And he's 24 or 25 right now. I can't think of his exact age. He might be 20, somewhere between 24 and 26. I went to my financial planner and they're like, are you out of your mind? Like, you're going to give this 25-year-old $1 million just free because you think that he's going to be successful. I mean, he did have a business plan, I will tell you, and PowerPoint and everything, but there was no data. It's the first of its kind, like total risk, right? Total risk.
High risk.
Very high. My team all said no.
My favorite.
Every single one of them said no.
Okay.
Even my financial planner, who is the financial planner is for the Lakers. So I'll tell you right now, Alex is out there.
Yeah.
You're great. But you would have made a bad decision.
Yeah.
So I said, no, but the reason I invested in him was because I believed in him. He works more than me.
Love it.
Is always at the shops. Always, like, he went to China to source everything, tested it for a year, had all the science behind it, showed me everything. And like, you could tell that this person could not fail. If they failed, it'd be the end of their life. I always said for myself, if I wanted something, I always was able to get it.
Yeah.
So
1000%.
the first nice car I ever got was a Maserati. And I remember when I bought it, I was like, didn't have the money to buy it, but I'm like, I will. So I bought it and I did.
Yeah.
And like a month or two later, something great happened, right? So I give him the money to do this. And within 3 months, it's generating 100 to 500,000 a month.
That's
within
insane.
3 months.
That's insane.
But he needed a distribution and storage center.
Yeah.
They needed like all the devices.
I'm
Yeah, I'll talk about. I don't like to talk about myself as much, but this is a wrap.
You said this does more.
Yeah,
this is your more successful.
most car wraps, obviously I had to learn about all this stuff, but let me finish the story and then I'll go back to that. The reason I brought that up was you could see the passion, you could see the hard work, you could see that he was not following what these young people who watch TikTok and Instagram think, quick buck. Like, this was the long-term plan. And it wasn't actually for him, even for the money. I actually knew this could be $1 billion company, but I don't think he really did until now. Now he does. It was before it was, he just wanted to create something totally unique and different in the industry that no one had. So what that was, and you could see the passion, the desire, the sacrifices he was willing to take,
on the edge of my seat.
etc.
What is that?
So what it is so most car wraps, if they're colored, they wrap the car for cosmetic purposes only.
Right.
But they don't protect the car. So that's just like,
I know this.
That's just like cosmetically, you have people that get stuff worked on, but their internals all fucked up, right?
Okay.
So it's the
Plenty
same
of those
thing,
out
right?
here.
Lots of those, exactly. So trying to fix that too.
Right.
So with that said, though, he developed a wrap where it can be colored and protective. So it's a protective PPF, basically.
Wow.
So what's cool about it is, if it works, you can have it on almost forever. It won't damage the car. I don't know if you know about wraps now, but they should be replaced usually every 3 to 5 years, sometimes even less than that. And even when they are replaced, sometimes you have to redo the base of the coat of the car. In this one, you do not. And so it's completely protective. How do we know it's that successful? Because in the first 6 months, the only competitive company, which is called Expel, they're worth about $3 billion right now. They came to buy us already.
Wow.
So if they came to buy already, you know that something's good
Right.
in that company. So I
Amazing.
told him absolutely. I told my partner absolutely not. You got to wait a little bit longer, and then you get them as a partner. It's better to do that.
Yeah.
So long story short is he was able to develop that. So now there's 80 colors, over 80 colors. It started out with like 20, then it's like 30 to 40. Now we're at 80 colors, and then we're launching Clear, which is the biggest wrap sale in the world. I don't know if you guys know that, but how many cars do you think are wrapped in color versus clear?
I have no clue. I don't know anything.
How many times more do you think? I had no idea either. I was like, I would want color. 9 times more clear sold than color.
Wow.
So that we're at the base of that industry.
Wow.
Because if we can get into clear and get all of that 9 times, even 10 or 20%,
Right.
it is quadruples the company.
That's
But what's
amazing.
cool about it is the branding of it. So that's, if you guys check it out, it's called @PurePPF on Instagram. If you look at it, it took what you're doing in the car industry to a whole nother level. It shows the luxury branding of it. It shows the color, the videos. Like our social team, they're how old are they? 19 to 22. It's like they are like, but they're so creative, and they're like, oh my god, they're so into it. So we even did a thing where there, some of the colors that we were hitting over the summer were so bright, like pink and yellow, like bright colors and stuff, that we gave sour candies that matched the colors with the colored wraps to all the people that bought it. So it was like just something different. Like no one's ever done that. Like who gives candy when they're buying a car wrap? But that was what, made it stand out. And then now, because it's in like, I think 500 or 800 shops or something now, it's expanded a lot. And people are seeing the success, but it's also the other part of it that you described was the customer service. So all the shops that utilize the wrap say that we have the best customer service, the most loyal in terms of when people buy more, we give them more. We do more for them. Like I even told my partners before New Year's, I was like, you better have a really good end of year incentive for those car shops, because I want them to buy a bunch before the next year and give them a shitload more. I don't care if we lose money. Give them more so that they can have more for their clients. And you know what? So many people that were the car dealers said, you did more for us in the 6 months that you ever started your business than any of these huge companies have done, like 3M or Expel or whatever, for their whole careers, the whole times that they've had car shops for 20 years and stuff. So I think it's literally the same thing in a totally different industry.
Yeah.
It's the customer service, it's the branding, it's the quality of the product.
Well, congratulations, by the way. That's amazing.
So I mean, I didn't do anything but give the money, but now I've learned a lot about it. And I actually we had a holiday dinner, and all these people were like, "Who is this guy talking?" I was like, "Yeah, I funded this company, so let me talk to you guys a little bit." I did a whole announcement, and then we gave everybody these great gifts, and it was actually pretty awesome. They loved it, but it was very cool to be able to do that. So I'm always looking now to find things to do like that. And that's my goal. My goal for this year is to keep expanding those. And then I started a non-for-profit that's going to be for burn and scar patients to get burned, to get free treatments, actually.
So cool.
So we'll be doing that this year.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to bring you on, because I think what you're doing is similar to what I'm doing in the tattoo industry. But there's so few people that are like hustling and like working hard. The podcast is about also being fit, because I find, in my opinion, and we don't have to go into that part right now, is people that work out are disciplined. Like people that go consistently and have good bodies, they're eating right, they're working out, they're consistent. I feel like most people that are like, have that also have good careers. What do you think?
I mean, I've seen, so there's a few rules, like exceptions to the rule, but I totally agree.
A few exceptions is nothing to like a majority.
You're 1,000% right, because I feel like if you're disciplined and you have certain types of, routines and things that you can kind of,
it can make you successful in your business.
Well, I think that the problem with a lot of people being successful or having a hard time becoming successful is they don't know how to have discipline. They don't know how to force themselves to cut out certain bad habits, or to put themselves and force themselves to follow good habits to the point where if I want this and this is what's going to get me from A to Z, I can do it. And those things could be eating, could be sleeping, could be going to the gym and, you know, working out and making sure you're healthy, your stamina's up. But I totally agree with you. Most people who are successful usually are in good shape, because if you have the discipline to go to the gym and say, hey, even though I don't want to go in at, you know, today I'm tired, I've been in work for 10 hours, whatever, I don't feel like going and doing this leg set or whatever it is. If you can push yourself and say that your mind over matter, and that your mind has, you have the willpower to say, I'm going to force myself to take my butt to the gym and actually do this set, that's usually a good sign that you have that same type of mentality, that you can do the same thing.
And
in
what I
business.
found is a lot of the entrepreneurs I'm bringing on, at least in this first like 10 to 20, they all are very into working out.
Oh, amazing.
And some are actually fitness influencers, but a lot of them are actually not. And they're just successful people that part of the routine is 4 or 5 in the morning or late at night. They're going because that's how their mind goes, that they need to have a good body to be that, have that self-confidence to do all that stuff. So it kind of all meshes together.
I feel like my confidence has definitely gone up since the last few years, since I've started being more in shape. Like when I first met you, I was like really skinny, like super stick skinny, you know, like a twig. And, you know, I feel like I had the confidence from the social media and the success, but I didn't have that like physical.
But you need your self-confidence to be able to make yourself successful. You do it for yourself, not everybody else.
Right. Now I'll go anywhere and take my shirt off and be like, it's
great.
Yeah, you know, like
that's why we're gonna do our workout. That's why we're gonna do our workout soon, our collab.
But you got me beat on the abs, man.
It's okay.
I gotta get my six pack.
I can help you with that.
I gotta get my
surgically and non-surgically. No, I'm kidding. So all right, I think that's it. That's all I really wanted to go over with you. I feel like we'll do more together as the future goes on. But is there anything that you want to say to anyone that's gonna watch?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone's looking for a high quality tattoo, or they want to get the best of the best experience, best of the best quality, you know, by the best shop in the world, we'd love to have you, either me or one of my amazing world-class artists at my shop. Make sure to check out the California Dream, or check out obviously me, Romeo Lacoste, and we would love to give you the tattoo of your dreams.
Awesome. So, loved it. That's a wrap.
Thank you.